What's going on, people? Sean Pierce Johnson here, back for SPJ Live. Hope you guys are doing okay. Judging by some of the chat going on in the chat, things are starting to get a little crazy in the world, I suppose. Man, I had no idea that I've been stuck here in the studio all day editing videos and had no idea that according to Riley, there's been a shooting up in Canada. So I know I've got a lot of knuckleheads in the group and everything. I know Ben's up there. I know quite a few other guys watching are up there. Hope you guys are okay. Hope everybody's doing well and staying healthy. This is just, it's starting to get a little out of hand, but we're not going to worry about that tonight. We're going to concentrate on hanging out here with each other, staying safe, and staying healthy. Got some people in the chat. Of course, Ben Coombs is here, as well as Riley I.O. Acura. Good to have you guys, as always. We got Gillis DeBilio in the house as well. Gillis, great to see you, my friend. So, you know, we're just going to kind of keep things loose and, you know, kind of keep it going and just kind of have some fun right now. The whole thing I wanted to do today was just to really start getting into this mode of Q&A with you guys. So having some different questions about different types of gear, different things as far as playing the guitar is concerned, just, you know, keeping that going. It has been an absolute hot as hell week here in SoCal, and being the one stuck up in the studio, it has not been fun. Trying to not run the air conditioning so much. You might see it from time to time, but the electrical on our house is not amazing, so it makes the lights flicker when it goes on. But hey, such is the way of things. You know, we move on, we press on. So yeah, I just wanted to get in this idea of Q&A, do some little mini lessons as far as your little, any questions you might have about concepts related to the guitar. That's what I'm here for. Encourage more dialogue as well. So let's go back to the chat real quick. Orange is a heavy gain fruit. Need some fuzzy bears through it. Well, I got the Fuzzly Bear from KMA. That certainly helps. That's one of my absolute favorite fuzz pedals. And Ben, it was indeed awesome to hear, to hang with you on Sunday as well. It was a great time. Always good to chat with friends, you know, and when, especially when the conversation is good. Riley's asking if there's any gear news. As far as gear news, you know, I'm in a position where I can't really like share much gear news because a lot of, you know, new releases, companies want to, you know, keep that fairly secret. They don't want to sort of put that out on blast for, you know, the secret to get out. I am definitely in talks with companies, which I'm actually really surprised about, that I'm in talks with companies to be, you know, new releases that are coming out. I was not certain if I was going to get much of that, but I am in talks with some, and so there will be some new products coming out. I just can't tell you from who, and I can't tell you from where. Hey, Terry, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. But I did get some new stuff recently, so I can share that. Let's see. I showed you guys on the WrestleMania live stream that I got a new power supply from Excel Audio, the Effects Power Source 12, which is, you know, it's made for all the, you know, high current pedals and switchers and things like that. So I will be doing something with that. I got a bunch of stuff from Big Joe Stompbox, including, I got this yesterday, the Empire Overdrive from Big Joe Stompbox. And you actually were hearing that at the beginning of the video. So basically, it's a 2-channel overdrive One that's more like your traditional kind of overdrive pedal layout with, the volume, the gain, and tone. And then it's got two different feels, a firm and a sponge control, to kind of get like a little bit of extra sag in it. And then that's channel B. Channel A is more, it's a little bit more of, I could say that it's amp-like and kind of like an amp in a box thing, but I feel like I'd be wrong. But it's certainly a little bit more tweakable. It's on the floor right now. I'd pick it up, but then I have to unplug stuff, and it's just not gonna sound good. But it's got output, it's got drive, it's got a presence control, and it's got body and attack controls rather than lows and highs for the EQ section. So you can add on low frequencies that aren't quite that like boomy bass, just things that thicken it up a little bit. And the attack, which is really important for me because I like to be able to get a bit of picking attack. It also helps with the tightness of the tone as well. And then that has the firm and the sponge switch on it as well. And you can basically run A into B, B into A. There's also a built-in buffer circuit. There's a switch between buffered and true bypass. And the buffer is actually like a variable control. So about like, you can do unity gain on it, or you can actually use it as sort of a clean boost to, basically as like, kind of like the MXR boost line driver that they did with Custom Audio Electronics. So basically, let me just kind of show you. You probably won't be able to hear it just because I don't have any audio plugged in. I had to go with the less intense setup today just because I was running really short on time and didn't have a whole lot of time to troubleshoot today. So that, what you're hearing, and hopefully you can hear it, is the sound of the guitar going into the pedals on the floor, and then the Empire's buffer is turned on and turned up just shy of 12 o'clock. And if I turn it to true bypass, see, you get that darkening effect of, I've got this short boss cable, but then every cable that, the pedals are connected, it's going in, and then the long cable is going from the pedals into the amplifier. So turning on that buffer, we get our sparkle back, we get a little bit more of our signal back thanks to the variable control on the pedal. But all in all, it actually kind of helps the harmonicness of things. So I can turn on the Keeley Echoes. So just all in all, sounds really good. It brings back that articulation that we need and would want. It just kind of gets the gunk out of the lungs, so to speak. But I actually really like channel B. It's just a really nice, simple overdrive. Yeah, just really nice, full sounding overdrive. Get a little bit of articulation with the tone control. Then channel A, a little bit more of like... sounding overdrives, but highly versatile, a really cool box. I'm not quite sure how this video is going to look because there's so much to it, but it is going to be something fun to play around with, and hopefully that you guys will, enjoy watching. We had some questions go by in the chat, so I want to make sure I get to it. But also, Bent Tom is here. How you doing, Bent? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Where was the questions? Riley's asking what cables I use. I do not discriminate when it comes to cables. I use whatever I have. But I have standards, obviously. So you won't see me using anything like the cheapo cables that come packaged in like guitars or whatever, the really thin looking ones. I like cables that are decently sturdy, but at the same time, I have so many ones that I've collected over the years, different, what was it? I'm trying to think of the word here. Different brands, that's what I'm looking for. I have so many different brands, so many different lengths, so many different types, but normally I default to 3 brands: Sinusoid, Rattlesnake, and then the cables that I make. I make cables from Canary GS6, which you can buy in bulk online, or like how I prefer to do it, going to Pacific Radio in Burbank, California, and stocking up. It's just really easy to make your own. Get a huge roll of that. Get your Neutrik plugs. I like the silent Neutrik plug for one end, and then just a standard one for the other. But yeah, Neutrik plugs, Canary GS6, nothing terribly fancy. Just solder one end, solder the other end, and boom, you've got yourself a really, really great guitar cable. But the Sinusoid sent me some cables a couple years ago that I really enjoy, and I have been using for demos for a very long time. Rattlesnake also sent me some cables that I've been using for demos, and I've been using those for several years. But the Rattlesnake ones are very rugged. They've got the Tech Flex, and then they also have some really heavy-duty heat shrink around the plug end. When I say plug end, I mean like the connector. So they'll basically, solder the plug to the cable, then they'll use Neutrik ends, really hefty Neutrik ends, and then put this nice heat shrink over it so that there's no, kinking, there's some strain relief, and that the two parts don't separate. And I like to use those live because they are so ruggedly built. Hank from Rattlesnake was actually at the NAMM show this past year, which was really cool to see. The guys from Sinusoid have been really cool, always treated me real well. And then I always like to use stuff that my friends make, and thankfully I know some people who make some really cool cables. And also I feel like my cables are, they're not fancy, but I use them because I know what went in them, and I know how much they can take. So there you go. Laz is here. Hey Laz, how you doing, buddy? You're live right now too? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna open up a new tab. I'm gonna invade your live stream. Ha ha! Ha ha! Let's see. Music Therapy Laz. Invading right now. I see you, Laz. That's fun. Nice. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that's all about cables. Ben, just still loving that Jennings, eh? Absolutely. If it's being made for me, and I got to spec it out, it's hard to argue with it, man. Chad makes a great guitar. I want more of them. I'd love a Voyager, just like a standard solid body, to get kind of like the offset vibe. At least one in the collection. I may even like one in a baritone, because I've played a baritone version of his Voyager, and it's really awesome. But we should be having some videos coming out on the Jennings channel sometime this year, where I played a Voyager Deluxe. and that's the semi-hollow version of the Voyager, and it with a mastery bridge and an offset style vibrato arm, being able to play behind the bridge and get those like really crazy, like out of this world overtones going on with, you know, some really dense reverb was really cool. Chad just makes a great guitar. He's really smart about how he does his stuff. Nothing that I've played of his is terrible. It's all generally pretty good. Iced coffee. Can't drink hot coffee at this time of day anymore. It's just too damn hot. I'm invading Laz's space. Hold on.
Guitar battle here, okay.
Laz, I can hear you now, so... This is latency jamming.
Yeah, latency jamming.
Latency jamming. Are we back? I think we're back.
Ever wonder why
Me and Laz latency jamming, that was a lot of fun. Okay, I think we're back now. That was weird. Yeah, Ben, it's been steadily getting up in temperature here. Like it was funny last week because it was like cold and rainy one day, and then 2 days later we're starting to get into like the upper 80s Fahrenheit. And then this week it's been all 90s all the time. And which, you know, I suppose in terms of music is fine, but in terms of weather, it's very difficult. Huh, and Ben, you were here at a time where we actually had some decently cool weather. Hey, Laz, that was fun. Latency jamming, it's gonna be a thing. Fun stuff. Riley prefers the colder weather. Yeah, I definitely prefer it when it's cooler, obviously. Trying to clear my loops here. Bah. I prefer the colder weather too. We just don't get enough of it. But, you know, growing up in SoCal all my life, I'm so used to this kind of climate. I'd really have to live somewhere like it. So yeah, there you go. You know, I said I wanted to do some little mini lessons in the title of this, and this was actually inspired by some off-camera chat that Ben and I were having before the show we did on Sunday. We were talking a little bit about the switch between the major and the minor pentatonic, and talking about the different licks that you can do, and some of the things that, you know, can you do the same licks over, you know, with a major and minor pentatonic? In theory, you should be able to. In practice, it's something completely different. So I wanted to share a little bit of that with you and some of the things that I kind of came up with. So I want to start by just having, we're going to center this around, first off, D minor pentatonic. We all know that scale. We all use that scale. But, like anything with the guitar, everything is pretty relative to one another. So, okay, D. Our relative major is F. So the idea is, can you use the same licks in D minor and in F major? So to that end, I'm just going to record a little D minor chord loop. So that's going right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some D minor pentatonic licks. Here we go. Pretty, you know, self-explanatory. It works and it sounds good. But what if we try that same thing over F major? Let's try it again. It's not the worst thing in the world. The notes fit, but it doesn't feel like it belongs. So to answer the question in a simple way, can you play minor pentatonic licks on the relative major? Yes, you can. But then it breeds a better question. Does it sound good? It sounds correct. It just doesn't sound good. So how do you change that up? The biggest difference between playing in the minor versus the major is what your chord emphasis is. So if we think for 1 second, because we as guitarists need to use our brains, the triad of D, D minor specifically. The notes in our scale are D, E, F sharp, G, A. Those are all we're going to really need to worry about right now. We just need that minor triad. So that would be D, F, and A. Kind of the start of your little sweep arpeggio there. So if you were to go ahead and do there's minor. Now those same notes do exist in F major. F, G, A. There's one right there. Then we have B flat, C, D, sorry, my throat's been a little dry lately, E, and back to F. There's the same notes in there, but the real defining thing in that whole shebang is the third. Major and minor third. Relative notes do exist, yes, Laz, but it's that third. That's the defining tone of the triad. So when we play these pentatonic licks, when we think about the notes that make up the minor pentatonic scale or the pentatonic scale, it's 1, 3, 4, 5, and then our octave. 7, and then the octave. So they're all the same, but it's how do you emphasize them? So, can we take some of those minor pentatonic licks and can we reuse them to emphasize the major? Let's try it. Let's at least do it in practice. Now, the minor pentatonic lick of this would go like this. Doesn't sound bad, but it's not technically correct. Let's try emphasizing it in the major way. Now, I was trying to emphasize major there, so what if I decided to try to stay in minor over this major chord? Let's just, for fun, take a listen. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, it just doesn't quite work 100% like we would want it to. So, let's answer all the questions finally. Can you play minor pentatonic licks over the relative major? Yes, you can. Do they sound good? Not really. How do you do it? How do you play those licks over in the minor pentatonic over the relative major? You got to adapt them in order to emphasize the chord tone. And without being able to do that, you're kind of out of luck. So yeah, short little lesson for you there. Inspired by some off-camera chat. Terry has to figure out how to demo a 7-string guitar. Good luck, Terry. Have fun with that. Riley's asking, can you make a song atonal? You can make anything atonal. But I suppose that then begs the question, well, what is atonal anyway? You know, everything produces a tone. Everything that I'm saying right now is in a tone. Every pitch is a tone. So it's really kind of this, there aren't really answers, only more questions kind of thing. Add 9 chords and diminished sevenths, maybe. Riley, I'm not quite understanding what exactly you're getting at there when you bring it up, so just try to clarify that, and maybe I can help you out there. Oh, Ben, you are funny. Could also mix the tone or mood over the chords. Maybe begin with minor, then adjust to the major alternative, and vice versa. Yeah, that's it's called modal interchange. It's a thing. So you can definitely, you know, shift from major to minor within a piece of music. People do it all the time. It's a pretty easy thing to do. Ah, Jay Steen has arrived and joined us. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Yep. There we go. So there's something for you. Oh, right. What I meant by the add 9 chords was how would you approach the scales or licks over those? Okay. Well, there are definitely scales that you can play over those chords. Let's dissect it, shall we? So let's use A, since it's kind of middle of the guitar neck essentially, and let's build ourselves a diminished 7th chord. So what is a diminished chord? A diminished chord is the same kind of triad idea, 1, 3, 5, and then 7, using those and then figuring out now what are the things that really define a diminished chord. Well, the biggest thing that defines a diminished chord is, of course, the tritone, the flat 5. And then if you have a diminished 7th, I'm guessing we're talking about a dominant 7th chord. Now, if I were to take this standard dominant 7th chord voicing and flat the 5, basically, I have my major third up here, my diminished fifth, my 1, major third, 5, 7. So you can kind of get this nifty little it's pretty easy to figure out and build chords. As a matter of fact, building chords is a nifty little brain exercise that you can do for yourself. But essentially, that's all you really need to know. So what can you do over that chord? There's actually a few things you can do. You have to, first and foremost, know what's in the chord, the notes that are in it and what can fit around it. So we have to make sure that we emphasize that dominant 7, that major third, which ironically form a tritone, and then that diminished fifth. So let's build a scale based off of that. Our 1, A, 2, B, our major third, C sharp, our 4, D, we have flat 5 being A flat, then our 6 being F sharp, then we have our dominant 7th being G, and then A. So altogether, that would sound like this. Pretty weird. So finding a scale that fits within that is kind of weird. It's not exactly the most fun thing in the world to play. But arpeggios are great because most of the time those diminished chords end up, especially in the context of something musical, end up being used as more passing chords rather than as like the foundation for a measure of music. For example, there's a lot of diminished chords in jazz, but you're not really playing these diminished chords for a long enough time to really have it be like the meat of the musical composition. So you'll just have it for like, you know, maybe used as like a couple measures for a passing tone. So you can very easily just spend that couple beats in the measure just playing an arpeggio version of those notes, or even just like taking these two, that little tritone that makes up the dominant 7th and the major 3rd kind of thing, and then finding a way to resolve that into what you're playing next is gonna be really handy. There's a lot of little tricks that you can do in order to be able to, you know, solo over chord changes, and chord tones are your biggest friend. If you know what you're doing theoretically, you can find many different workarounds for it. And then conversely, let's see, you were talking about add 9 chords. Okay, let's build an add 9 chord. Well, let's see. I mean, really, we could do that. C minor 7 add 9, or A minor 7 add 9. There's our A minor 7 chord. The add 9 is basically just 9 is an octave of 2. So finding some place to add a B in there. Well, I'm going to go ahead and revoice that so that we have our root note here, A. The rest of that being part of our minor 7th chord voicing, and adding that 9 up there. So what do? Well, the 9 is already technically a part of this key center, this A minor key center. So you can do whatever you want with it. So let me actually, gonna clear my loop. and record a little add 9 loop. Okay, so we've got that add 9 chord, now looping. Just change up the guitar tone a little bit. So basically I'm going to just start now by just playing the minor scale. So that's one thing. What up, Garguts? Good to see you, bro. Minor Pentatonic. Blues scale. Dorian. See right there? Really emphasizing that 9 that drives that chord. That's that chord tone that I'm talking about. Really makes that point in your melody and in your soloing of what exactly is the point of this chord that I want you to hear. And there was a little mistake in there, but as Frank Zappa once said, if you make one mistake, do it again, and it's jazz. Garguts is on the road to try a Joyo right now. What Joyo are you on the road to try? Let us know. Oh, thanks, Riley. I appreciate that. I don't feel like my feel is that great, but I'm trying. Constantly working on it. Because without, the feel and the real emotion, music is just, music is not the Olympics. It's not meant to be. So it's meant to convey emotion. So that's kind of the thing. Side question, what looper are you using? Right now I'm using the Nux JTC Pro, which has a drum machine in it as well as the looper. So one switch turns on, drums, the other switch turns on your loops. So there, that's what I'm using. Make a solo fusion album? Not doing that. That is just not my bag, man. That is not what I want to do. I'm not yet comfortable with chops like that, and I'm so out of practice as far as super theoretical and fusiony, jazzy kind of stuff goes. I wanted to try to use a lot of this time during the quarantines to get some more practice in, but I've just been working. I haven't been able to stop. Hopefully, I'll be able to slow down a little bit in the coming months, and I'll be able to devote some time to just sitting with the guitar and practicing a little bit. But everybody's also just being king dicks right now, so I have to do stuff that like doesn't stress me the fuck out. So I've been playing a lot of video games. If I'm not playing guitar or watching movies or like streaming shows on like Disney Plus or Netflix or watching wrestling, I'm playing like God of War, Jedi Fallen Order, Uncharted. I got a PlayStation 4 in November, so I'm basically just indulging in all the video games that I bought finally. Doom Blues Fusion. You know, the thing with Fusion is it's so heavily reliant on it, part of its, combination being jazz and rock. And it's so reliant on that jazz portion to like really drive the fusion home that kind of stuff, like if I played that same add 9 chord through a fuzz, it's kind of hard to hear those chord tones, but at least fuzz on the solos would work. Ah, the zombie, the Joyo zombie. Very nice. Those band amps are really cool. I miss the Meteor. I wanted to get some stuff from Joyo, but I feel like getting stuff from any Chinese manufacturer in the States is going to be incredibly difficult right now. So, doing what we can. Yes, I did hear about them bringing Ahsoka Tano into the Mandalorian. We'll see how that goes. I actually need to start watching the Clone Wars, because when it was coming out, I was, kind of on the way out of my family home and was in college, really, and just didn't have a whole lot of time for watching TV, so I completely missed Clone Wars. But now that it's on Disney Plus, I can definitely go back and watch everything. I am with you on that, Bent. I can't wait for The Mandalorian either. It's going to be awesome. I really like The Mandalorian a lot. I just rewatched it with my wife, and it was the first time she had seen it. Definitely feel like there's things that she didn't like about it, but overall, I think we both enjoyed it. I personally like the fact that it's a different tone than anything Star Wars related that I've ever seen. Yeah, I know it's Rosario Dawson, Terry, which is fine. I just haven't seen enough of this character to really get either excited or mad about it. That's all I can say. I know I saw the Clone Wars movie, the thing that really got the series started, but I haven't seen enough of her in the series to really say to you, like, oh, I'm really excited. No, I'm not excited at all. New Clone Wars episodes are getting good right now, so I hope that the previous episodes were good. I hope. Jeez. Season 2 trailer, IGN... Oh, so was it like an April Fool's joke, Riley? I don't know. I'm kind of... April Fool's, I'm just over. There's no time for that in my life right now. Oh, well, I can't deny that, Ben. I can't deny that Rosario Dawson is beautiful. It's just more, I don't know what the character, I don't really know how to read the character of Ahsoka Tano because I haven't watched enough of Clone Wars, and I know she's in Rebels and other Star Wars things. So I don't know enough about the character to really say whether or not when I see this character older that Rosario Dawson is the person that I picture playing that character. I know a lot of people are excited about it, and most of the guys that I hear from that are excited about it are really just excited because, you know, they think Rosario Dawson is really hot, which she's beautiful looking, but don't get me wrong, but at the same time it's like I have no opinion of what she's going to bring to the character because I just don't know the character. Jastein has Disney Plus, but you haven't seen The Mandalorian. Well, then you need to see The Mandalorian. Like, it's a great little show. You can watch it if you get the chance to binge watch it. You could watch it in 2 nights. The episodes aren't really that long. I think the credits are longer than they should be. So I know I was watching one episode. It said it was like 49 minutes long, and the episode really stopped at like 42 minutes, and then the rest was all credits. So that should, you know, there you go. Apparently Ahsoka's getting her own series, okay. Kind of reading your guys talk about Ahsoka. I'll have to form my own opinion, honestly, guys. I'm all for there being like cool characters and whatnot, but we'll just have to see. Honestly, Riley, I wouldn't have even known if that was her voice speaking in episode 9. I wouldn't have known because I just haven't seen enough of the character and heard the voice. Like, some people picked up on it instantly. I did not. I couldn't. I wouldn't even have known. Oh, Terry, you're funny. You're funny. That's good. That's a good one. She hasn't won the women's championship yet. She hasn't been signed to AEW. She's nobody I know. Oh, yeah. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me for a little bit. It's getting to be about that time. I gotta get on with the rest of my day, but it is awesome to come hang out with you guys for a little bit. I would love to know in the chat and in some future comments what you guys would like to see on the live shows coming up so we can make them a bit more exciting. I'm just not at a point right now where I can really do a whole lot. Just can do whatever I can for you guys. Maybe bring some guests on. Don't really know. Still kind of working on those things and getting that back end sorted. But I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this little period of time. If you haven't done so already, you know the subscribe button is there, but make sure you've got those notifications turned on. A lot of you guys have been telling me that you're not getting notified of new videos, but new videos have basically been coming every single week. This Saturday, another one is coming. We've got the Red Spiral Overdrive from Spiral Electric Effects, which I'm very much looking forward to showing you guys. I actually just sent the video to Tom Cram today, and he was very pleased with it. So the fact that the creator of the pedal is pleased with it, I hope you guys will be too. In the meantime, if you would like to keep the channel supported and help it keep going during these times, and you can spare some little bit of support, Patreon is there. You will get early access to every video that I make. I can tell you right now that there are about 5 videos in the works right now, ready to be edited and ready to be shared with you guys, and you will be seeing those sooner than anyone else in the world. So, to all of you who have joined, special thanks to the mods out there. Thanks to Ben. Thanks to Riley. Thanks to Terry. Thanks for making me laugh a couple times, guys. Thanks for hanging out and doing the thing. I will see you guys next weekend. I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Stay safe, wash your hands, and until next week, I wish you all great tone, great health, and happy stomping. Cheers, friends. See you next week.